There is a part of you that you don't want anyone to see. Not your friends, not your family, not even yourself. It is the part that feels anger, envy, dominance, control. You hide it, you suppress it, you pretend it does not exist. But here is the truth most people will never accept. The more you deny your darkness, the more it controls your life. Because what you refuse to face, you can never control. And the people who understand this, they don't run from their shadow, they master it. The lie you were taught. You were taught to be good, to be kind, to be polite, to be harmless. You were told that anger is wrong, that ambition is selfish, that wanting power makes you dangerous. So you learn to hide those parts of yourself. You learn to smile when you are angry, to stay quiet when you should speak, to accept things you should reject. And slowly, you became weaker. Not because you lack strength, but because you abandoned it. The truth is simple. You were not taught to be good. You were taught to be controllable. Because a person who suppresses their power is easy to manipulate. What your shadow really is. Your shadow is not evil. It is everything you were forced to hide. Your anger, your ego, your ambition, your desire to win. It is the version of you that does not beg for approval. The version that does not tolerate disrespect. The version that does not hesitate. But instead of understanding it, you buried it. And what you bury does not disappear. It grows, quietly, in the background, until one day, it starts making decisions for you. That sudden anger you cannot control. That jealousy you pretend not to feel. That fear that stops you from acting. That is your shadow, controlling you from the dark. Why most people are weak? Most people are not weak because they lack ability. They are weak because they lack awareness. They do not understand themselves. They do not question their reactions. They do not analyze their emotions. They simply react. And reaction is the lowest form of control. If someone can trigger you, they can control you. If someone can make you angry, they control your behavior. If someone can make you insecure, they control your decisions. This is why emotional people are predictable, and predictable people are easy to manipulate. The first rule of power. If you want control over others, you must first gain control over yourself. Not partial control, total control. You must be able to feel anger without acting on it, to feel fear without obeying it, to feel desire without becoming blind. Because once you reach that level, no one can use your emotions against you. And that is where real power begins. Seeing what others hide. Once you understand your own shadow, you begin to see it in others. And this changes everything. Because people are always revealing themselves, not through words, but through patterns. The one who needs constant attention is insecure. The one who talks too much is hiding something. The one who tries too hard to impress is seeking validation. The one who avoids confrontation fears rejection. People do not say these things directly, but they show them every day in small ways. And if you learn to observe, you will see everything. The dark truth about people. People are not driven by logic. They are driven by emotion. They make decisions based on feeling, then justify them with logic. This means if you control emotion, you influence decisions. Fear controls behavior. Desire controls attention. Validation controls loyalty. This is how influence works, not through force, but through understanding human nature. Attention is power. What people focus on controls their reality. If you control attention, you control perception. This is why mystery is powerful. This is why silence attracts. This is why unpredictability creates influence. When people cannot fully understand you, they think about you more. And the more they think about you, the more influence you have. Scarcity creates value. The more available you are, the less valuable you become. If people can access you anytime, they stop respecting your time. They stop valuing your presence. But when you become selective, when you are not always available, when your attention is limited, your value increases. Because people want what they cannot easily have. Control your reactions. The easiest way to lose power is to react emotionally. When you react without thinking, you expose yourself. You reveal your triggers. You show your weaknesses. But when you stay calm, you become unreadable. And what cannot be read cannot be controlled. The person who controls their reaction controls the situation. Always. Integrating your darkness. You do not destroy your shadow. You train it. Your anger becomes focus. Your jealousy becomes motivation. Your desire for control becomes discipline. Instead of suppressing your instincts, you refine them. You sharpen them. You turn them into tools. Because raw emotion is weakness, but controlled emotion is power. Anyone can act aggressive. Anyone can try to dominate. Anyone can manipulate. But very few can control themselves. True power is restraint, knowing you can act, but choosing not to. Knowing you can react, but staying still. Knowing you can speak, but remaining silent. That level of control is what makes you dangerous. Why silence makes you strong. Silence is misunderstood. People think silence is weakness. But silence is observation. When you speak less, you learn more. When you react less, you see more. When you reveal less, you become more powerful. Because people cannot manipulate what they do not understand. The power of patterns. People think actions are random. They are not. Everything follows a pattern. Behavior repeats. Habits reveal truth. If you watch long enough, you will predict people. And once you can predict someone, you can influence them. Without force, without effort. Because you already know how they will respond. Stop seeking approval. The need for approval is a weakness. If you need people to like you, they control you. If you need validation, they influence you. If you fear rejection, they limit you. Power begins when you let go of that need. When you are comfortable being misunderstood. When you are comfortable standing alone. When you no longer adjust yourself to fit others. That is when your real identity appears. Become unpredictable. Predictable people are easy to control. They react the same way. They think the same way. They behave the same way. But unpredictable people are dangerous because no one knows what they will do, and that uncertainty creates power. You do not need to act randomly. You need to act intentionally, but not obviously. Control the game. Life is not random. It is a system of actions and reactions, moves and consequences. Most people play without realizing it. They react, they follow, they repeat. But once you see the system, you start playing differently. You think ahead, you plan, you position yourself, you create outcomes instead of reacting to them. And that is what separates power from weakness. Balance light and dark. Too much darkness without control becomes destruction. Too much light without strength becomes weakness. You need both. You need to be kind, but not naive. You need to be strong, but not reckless. You need to be calm, but not passive. Balance is what creates control, and control is what creates power. Final truth. Your shadow is not your enemy. It is your hidden strength. But only if you face it. Only if you understand it. Only if you control it. Most people will spend their entire lives running from themselves, pretending to be something they are not, hiding the parts that could make them powerful. But you have a choice. You can continue to hide, or you can take control. Because the moment you stop fearing your darkness is the moment you stop being controlled. And when that happens, you don't just change your life, you change how the world responds to you, forever.